Hello everyone, it's me again. Thank you for coming back into our channel, and for today's video, we are going to discuss another DOH program, which is your food sanitation program. So Philippines, being a third world country, always has a problem with regards to environmental and sanitation concerns. And during our last video about the environmental health and sanitation program, it has found out that the number one cause of morbidity cases in the Philippines is actually related to a foodborne condition known as your diarrheal conditions. So regardless of the disease, these are all product of an improper food handling that we are actually experiencing here in the Philippines. That is why the Department of Health set goals in order to address these concerns, and food sanitation program was created. So the food sanitation program aims to reduce the foodborne illnesses through education to food services operators and consumers regarding the safe food handling practices. So basically, this programs aims to address the problem by going to the root causes of all these foodborne illnesses that is happening right now, which I've mentioned, diarrheal diseases. Now, the legal basis of your your food sanitation program is the same basis of your environmental health and sanitation program, which is your Presidential Decree 856, or the Sanitation Code of the Philippines. On top of that, the Department of Health also releases some administrative orders that would give guidelines to food establishment and also food handlers that they need to follow, okay, especially when they need to get certificates from appropriate agencies. Example of this is your DOH Administrative Order number 1-2006, wherein it requires that all laboratories in the region where you at, or in the entire Philippines, needs to use formalin ether concentration technique, or your FEC, instead of the direct fecal smear in the analysis of stools of food handlers. This is actually to preserve whatever parasites or bacteria is present in the fecal matters submitted by the food handlers asking or requesting for a health certificate before they will be allowed to handle foods, and of course to establish their food businesses. Especially that here in the Philippines, we do have a lot of vendors who is actually selling food products in the streets, okay? And Filipinos are very fond of eating. That is why there is a lot of food establishment all around each corners of our country. Now, when I talk about your food sanitation program, these are the policies that is being followed by the program itself. Number one is that inspection and approval of all food sources, containers, and transport services should be done, which is basically before you can establish a food establishment. Okay, you are required to follow whatever policies set by the food sanitation program, including getting a sanitation certificate, and also food certificate, and health certificate of the food handlers that you will be employing. Another one is the compliance to sanitary permit for all food establishment. That is why in each LGU, or local government unit, a sanitary inspector was actually assigned to do its job to inspect, especially food establishment, okay, or any establishment that has possibly relation or related to sanitation concerns. And also health certificate to all food handlers. All of those who will be working on a fast food chains or any food establishment needs to secure health certificate in order to confirm that they don't have any conditions that may put the general population at risk of acquiring foodborne conditions or foodborne diseases. Okay. Now, each food establishment, still according to the policies, will be classified according to the level of to their level of following the prescribed guidelines and policies. They will be classified as Class A. So if they have a an excellent status in terms of following the sanitation practices, they will be class they will be categorized as Class B if they have very um, satisfactory result in terms of following the the classifications, or I'm following the guidelines, and class C if they only have satisfactory. But of course, if they will not follow any of these policies that is set as minimum standards in establishing food establishment, okay, they will not be given sanitary permits to operate, and that would make them not to operate any food establishment for that matter. Now, there are four rights in food safety that we need to follow and needs to be observed, especially if you are in the food industries. These are the right to source, right sources, the right preparation, right cooking, and the right storage. Take note that these four rights in food safety will not be only followed by food establishment and food establishment workers, but it is also expected that all households in the country should follow these four R's in terms of food safety. So what are we referring to in terms of these four R's? First one is the right source. Right source means that we always need to buy fresh. And when we talk about buying fresh, as a consumer, we need to have that keen eye to check for the freshness of the goods that we will be buying, especially for the foods that are actually spoiled faster, like vegetables, meat products, fish products, and any poultry products. Okay, we have to take note of the signs of a fresh meat, for that matter, versus those who were spoiled meat or considered double dead meat. Should I, if I could refer that into that? Okay, so we should always buy fresh, meaning that we have to check if what we are buying is actually fresh or not. Another one is that you always need to check for expiry dates, especially for the products that are actually manufactured by companies and it's selling in department stores or any other establishment, okay, selling products that are pre-packed, okay, because they have an expiry date. Another one is that we need to avoid buying canned goods with dent, bulges, deformation, broken seals, and improper seams, because these conditions reflects the status of the food itself. Okay, so as much as possible, we should avoid buying canned goods that has those characteristics. Another one that is that we always use clean water source. Okay, and we talk about clean water source, we have already discussed in other videos about the water sources. We have your level 1, level 2, and level 3. We just get water from those approved water facilities that we have discussed in the previous videos. And also, if in case that you are in doubt of the water sources, you can actually eliminate possible contaminants by boiling the water for at least 2 minutes. And that 2 minutes time should start when the water is already running boil, or when the water starts boiling. That's the time you would start timing the water boiling for at least 2 minutes. Okay, for at least 2 minutes. So that is the right source. Other one is the right preparation. For the right preparation, okay, it is a must, especially for food establishment like restaurant, that you do not mix raw and cooked foods together. Or should I say, you should not be placing them on a separate you should be placing them on a separate storage. Okay, so you cannot mix them on the same container or same storage, because the mix, or I mean the raw food, would actually spoil the cooked foods that you actually have prepared. Okay, that's basic among restaurant owners. Another one is that you only buy pasteurized milk or juices. Okay, only buy pasteurized milk or juices, or not the milk that is directly comes from the from cow, or Carabao's milk directly coming from farm. It has to be pasteurized. Okay. Next is you always need to wash vegetables, especially if you will be serving it raw, like for example for salads. And always wash hands and utensils, okay? And you wash them thoroughly, and you always remove food droppings from the kitchen if you are working on a food establishment like restaurant, because food droppings would attract rats and that would actually added to the sanitation problem of that particular um, establishment. Another one is right cooking. For the right cooking, you always need to make sure that the temperature of foods in all parts would always reach 70 degrees centigrade. It means to say that the food is well cooked. Another one is that you eat cooked food immediately. Okay, and of course, foods are better if they're still hot, especially for warm foods. Okay, and you always wash hands thoroughly before and after eating. That's very basic, and we need to teach this even to our kids. Okay, and the last R is the right storage. So all cooked food should be left at room temperature and not more than 2 hours. So if you're going to leave food at room temperature, you should not be doing that for more than 2 hours. If it's expected that the food will stay there for more than 2 hours, you have to put them on a storage that would increase their lifespan. Store cooked foods carefully and use tightly sealed containers for storing food. That's very basic, so that any insects or even rats cannot actually nibble, okay, on the foods that you have stored. Okay, store foods under hot conditions at least 60 degrees Celsius, and or on cold condition of at least less than but not greater than 10 degrees Celsius. And it is vital for you to store vital if to store more than 4 to 5 hours. If you're planning to store the food for 4 to 5 hours, okay. So if you're actually confused, hot conditions and cold conditions, because there are foods that you can store through hot conditions, like for those food that you need to be fermented, and foods that you need to store on cold condition, like in the refrigerator, okay. And these foods are actually the readily cooked foods, okay. And in terms of that, uh, you have to um, you have to reheat those foods before you eat them. Okay. For infant foods, should always be prepared fresh. Like for example, if you're going to prepare milk, and the baby is about to drink that like 4 hours before, you should. It is better that you prepare the foods whenever the infant needs it. Okay, do not overburden the refrigerator, because it also cause problem in the refrigerator, especially the storage. If it's too full, the air will not circulate inside the refrigerator, and it will spoil the other products or the other content that is does not reach by the cold air. Okay, reheat stored food for at least 70 degrees Celsius before consuming them. It is very important. Okay, now in terms of handling foods, always remember this principle on the food safety. Okay, the rules in food safety is that when you are in doubt, you throw it out. You do not consume food that you are in doubt, okay, of its cleanliness, of its freshness, and if you are in doubt that it's or if you have a hunch that it would actually cause you problem later on, then better not consume it. Okay, so that is the food sanitation program by the Department of Health. It always reminds us about the 4 R's and the importance of washing hands and consuming food that are fresh, and consuming food that are coming from a proper source. Okay, so thank you for watching these videos. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, comment for any questions if you do have one, and please do share this to your friends as well. Thank you very much, and see you on my next video.